it was my instinct that the breath is moving. And we taught everything about the Chinese medicine, like the expansion is the inhale and the contraction is the exhale. Like, but then many times it always goes through the spine. And I thought, well, dancing goes through the spine. So when I make myself longer or I twist and I go with an inhale, but the fitness industry said the opposite. I'm a dancer. I come from New York. I'm thinking therapy. Take your shoes off. It's the nervous system. I was so early with this whole thing, they didn't take me serious. They kicked me out of the whole fitness convention. I was sitting on the main train station crying. Why then people don't understand? Like, and then I had friends, they said, Robert, why don't you go back to dancing? I said, I do, but I also, if we continue what we're doing in 20 years, everybody will be sick. A lot of people never rise above. 95% of the people live out the program from the religion they got and the father and all the conditions they put, and they think this is love, and you have to jump. And when you have to jump, you have to work. I think as a human, oh my God, there's Joe Dispenza and there's Brooke. So we're like, my God, all this work you have to collect. And then you wake up. It's like being a second child in a fairy tale, but the fairy tale now is pretty real. When you wake up, you can also get lost again. And waking up means waking up and learn about life. And this is a lot. This is where you and me are very similar. We teach people, like, stand with your feet and don't go away from with some frankincense. It's like, stay close.
Welcome back to the Gamma Seekers. Today I have with you a friend. Robert Steinbacher you're kind of a world traveler, aren't you? You kind of don't settle for longer than a couple months at a time, but...
Couple days.
Yeah, so you're based we can say that you're based in Germany in the Switzerland area, though, Bavaria.
In Switzerland, like right in the middle, in Zurich, in the German-speaking area.
And then, is that where Body Art, your company, is based out of?
No, my company was based, well, yes, the brand is in Switzerland. I registered the brand, but the company is in 25 countries, and I franchised it, and every country has a franchising. The main Body Art school, the training school, is actually now with one of my best friends. I gave it to him after COVID because I realized I need to do different things. And he is Greek, but live in Germany. And all the secretaries now, they're doing the daily work, like you and your team, is now in the south of Germany. But everything is kind of spaced out all over the place. Like a friend of mine, she does all the how do you say, corporate identity. Mm-hmm. This is in Switzerland, but all the design is in Berlin. But the brand is somewhere, and all my close team is in Romania. The people I love the most are in New York, and the brand is really strong now in New York. So I don't really know. I'm everywhere. This is also the question the moment when you ask me, where do we belong? I said, don't ask me this question.
So the reason why I wanted to have you on here is because you are incredibly well-versed in a subject matter that most people are terrified of, and that's the subject of death and transition. So not only do you and I connect as athletes because you are a former dancer, not only are you a coach that really leads hundreds of people through so many retreats and workshops around the world. So there's a lot that brought us together, but you and I think, share this fascinating vantage point of looking at the eternal and how life turns into death, and the non-religious way that you and I have both pieced together our own reality. And I think bringing some of that existential philosophy into the online space is probably much needed. And I'm just going to start us off, like, getting into these deep waters with, like, what do you think it is to be a leader these days?
First of all, you need to be authentic. Otherwise, you cannot lead. It's not about marketing. Well, yeah, it is all about marketing. It's not, it's once you need to really know who you are and really know what you have to offer and stick with it. Like a singer, like Tina Turner went on stage and she said, what's love got to do with it? And she knew it. Like, or Steamy Window, she was confident. She was authentic. She was my role model. She just lived down the street. And in Zurich, yeah. And I think a leader is when you're so authentic with what you want to give to this humanity. This is what you lead off. Not you cannot look for something like I'm a cop and now I'm a leader of building a company for a cop. It's not a leader. A leader is when you shine so much with your magnetism and your aura that your purpose comes through you and you cannot do something different than giving that. And then you don't think about what leading is because you're so authentic with who you are. This is just, and you don't take it personal. It's just when something comes through you, this is in this lifetime, it comes through you. You're not standing in other people and there's no ego in it. Like you lead other people to, and then you show me how amazing I am. This is not there because when you lead, you want other people to thrive, I think.
Yes. I think
Yeah.
that's something that you do really well. Like, you can kind of stand in your glory, but really you are always thinking about trying to get people
Always
into their best. And I think
everywhere.
it's what radiates from you.
Yeah.
It's, I think, the reason why you've just kind of carved out your own little way of existing in our niche. And you've done it in a way that supports you. Like, you even make jewelry. I'm wearing your jewelry. And this also carries a power about it. Like, a lot of people that are in fitness, they kind of get stuck in fitness. They get stuck in dance, and then it's all about dance and it's all about movement. But you've really expanded that wholesomeness into the energetic, into the spiritual. Can you talk to us a little bit about, like, share a bit of that story? Like, I know your background about jewelry, but it runs much deeper than that into your look at life, death, being strong within life.
Do you have time?
We have to, we
Okay, maybe something you don't know. So I started as a homeless actually in New York City with 16, and I I had parents. My mom was 13 when she was pregnant, so I grew up with my grandma, and my father is Brazilian, and my mom is Irish German. My granny was Bavarian, and I was the champion in gymnastics, German, but very young, a youth champion, and then it went to European champion, but I was too young in a ring gymnastic, and I was always different because I grew up in mountains, the Bavarian mountain, in the wood. So, and when I was a little boy, I created wood houses. So I played Robin Hood, and I didn't create one. I just made a like tree up, like wood up in the trees, and I made 5, 6, 7 of them, and invited everybody to play. So we have a whole wood, and I always thinking big. And I was very naive, but in a beautiful way. And then I went to New York, actually because um, I was working for Reebok. Reebok was so big on the beginning of the 90s, and they told me, "Come to come to New York and train." And then I was 15, and the other choreographers was like 28 or 30. And of course, you don't want to go with a 15-year-old to New York when you're like 30 or 20s. So they just made fun of me and they pushed me into a stipendia class for ballet at Robert Center. And they said, you have to train from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and you have to do this. And they paid $800. And they told me I couldn't speak English. And they told me, this is what you have to do. And I was so naive and I thought, okay, it's great. And I loved it, but I was so bad because I was a gymnast and not a dancer. And then on the end of the day, there was this moment they did cross floors. And I was so nervous and I was so bad. But the people loved me. You know why? Because I was so bad. Because when you're so bad, then it makes other people looking really good. So everybody wanted me in their group because I couldn't dance at all. And then people, I think they asked the question, what the hell is this guy doing? And I was wearing hip hop clothes. I was wearing big. And those dancers were also like delicate and sexy and beautiful and whatever. But I was so young and then I couldn't speak English. So they all wanted me in their group. And then on the end of the day, I was so nervous and I thought, you know what? Fuck it. And I was running and I flipped in 2 somersaults in the air and I landed in a split and I hurt myself. I could never ever do this again. I was like, and then the whole room was quiet. And then at the end of the day, I remember, I mean, there was hundreds of trainers got a stipendium. On the list, there was my name for stipendia. And then there was Frank Hatchett. He walked bare feet from Mississippi to New York as a black man, and he got the job. He was also friends with Frank Sinatra. He got the job as the leader of one of the biggest dance schools in the world. And then he told me that if you come from Bavaria with hip hop clothes as a gymnast, then you should get it. So then I went home, and then my parents said no. And I gave parenthood to my friend. She was 23, and I left. And I remember the day I went to New York with a little brown bag and a Reebok backpack in blue with red dots and green dots. I remember. And I had $13,000. My friend gave it to me. I put it in a spin, and I had a complete nervous breakdown between Fifth Avenue and somewhere in Park Avenue, because I said, what did I do? I was 15 years old. I landed in New York. Then I went to Central Park. I just sit there and try to learn English with a Walkman. You know those things with a big pen on it. And there was 5 tapes in it. And my first word I asked, can I drink something? But I said someone. Can I drink someone? And drink someone. And nobody told me that this someone is actually not something. And then this was my nickname for a long time, someone, forever. And then it got colder, and I just flipped the day around with the night. I never thought about it was summertime. The dance started 5 a.m. There was different times till like 4 p.m. I went to Central Park. I sit around, and there I thought, wow, the whole life is mine. And I never thought about it. I don't work, or I don't sleep, or don't have anything. When it was super rainy, there was a really nice concierge in Pennsylvania hotel, and I paid like $80, and I slept in a room. I had money. And then I started stripping in an illegal club, but really bad club. Like, there was a popcorn store in the corner, and they sold everything. Drugs. And I didn't understand. I was 15. So, and I stripped, and I in a green G-string, and on Kiss from Prince. And the choreographer took somebody out of the audience and tied him on a chair, and I had a ring gymnastic thing. And, I was kind of far away, and there was a big bounce on the door. He's called Balu. And Balu said he made sure they walked me home every morning at 5 a.m. to Broadway Dance Center. I slept in the back. Was an illegal club. All the other strippers, they went home. They were all prostitutes, under 15, under 18. And the funny thing is, there was a back door, and when people knocked, people came in, and they put all this stuff on the table. Now I know what it is. What black after was heroin. It was crazy, but they were my friends. And when Balus, they said, someone come here. Do you have money? Do you have food? They brought me food. They gave me money. To Christmas time, they gave me like $2,800. I remember it. Everybody gave something to someone. And I think now, when I think back, I was so naive and so young that I always thought, I don't know where to put that. Those people killed so many lives, but they saved mine. It's like, it was so weird. It was so many different realities. And then I danced all day long. All day long. And at nighttime, I went to the club, I went to a hotel, and then the big Balu, the bouncer, he was actually the boss, but I didn't know those games in America. It was the big boss. He made sure I had a little room in New York, and it was actually not that nice. I liked it more on the street. It was like everywhere. And then my life kind of started. And from there, I went back to Europe. And then the military came and said, you left. You left school too early. 2 months, you have to become a carpenter or a baker or something. You have to go to school. I'm like, what? I cannot go. And then you have to go to military. And this is where everything changed, because it was near to my grandma. I loved her a lot. And I said, I'm going to a hospital for handicapped children. It's a whole city. I have like 1,400 handicapped children in this place of Germany. It's on the south of Germany and towards Austria, Salzburg. And then I became a movement therapist. And I didn't want it to. The only reason was I danced in a ballet for tea. German TV. It's really cheesy. Sunday night they have the lottery. And there was always a cheesy ballet. I was this kind of cheesy dancer, but it was at least dancing. And then I worked with handicapped children, and I trained cross-country skiing and skiing athletes. The young team, they said, can you train them? I said, and I did something. And then I learned all about movement and psychology. And even there, it started with fascia from the wheelchair people. And we had also autism and hyperactive and mongoloids. And all about chromosomes. And then I started training athletes. And I was shocked because I found in school, in education, we learned about when you suppress emotions, then you have certain things. When you have problems in your life that you are, let's say, abused, physical, mental, sexual, or psychological, then there are certain ways your body shows. I couldn't find this in handicapped children and kids, but I found it in the athletes a lot and in their parents. Because when I was working in the gym and they told me, Robert, can you teach the class called like spinal cord healthy back or something? I said, no, 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 I'm a receptionist. I cannot do a group fitness class. And it really, I said, no, no, leave me alone. And they said, no, somebody's sick. You have to do that. And I remember I walked in and I told them, remember when there was Jane Fonda and they had all those cheese strings and the leg
Yeah.
warmers? This is how they were dressed. And they took more time to get the clothes on and off because everything was makeup. And it was like, it was a 98, 89. Jane Fonda was very big. And then I came in and I said, can you please take off your shoes? And people looked at me like I was an alien. There was no yoga, no Pilates. I said, you have to take off your shoes because of the nervous system, because we trained handicapped children. And I studied there. I was very lucky. In this place was Japanese therapist, and he taught me everything about traditional Chinese medicine. So, and I said, of course, for me, it was normal to train bare feet. Or I did something called mat therapy. You have to make people naked, like autistic, and then you touch them with like slime or some wood or something, porcelain. So they have the feeling that they have a body. And it's always bare feet. And then for me was like, why do you wear so many clothes? So take it off. And they looked at me like, what's going on? And then I did not know what to do. So I combined the dance alignments with therapy movements from handicapped children. Of course, I didn't say it. And the whole room started to cry. And we already did breath work, but more breath holds from the traditional Chinese medicine. And I try to combine the movements with breathing because I didn't know what to do. I also did my dance choreography all on breathing. Like I was breathing because the body shows more fluid. I didn't know there was myofascia. Nobody talked about it. It was my instinct that the breath is moving, and we taught everything about the Chinese medicine. Like the expansion is the inhale, and the contraction is the exhale. Like, but then many times it always goes through the spine, and I thought, well, dancing goes through the spine. So when I make myself longer or I twist and I go with an inhale, but the fitness industry said the opposite. And then I had enemies. Reebok still was with me, sent me to fitness convention. I remember I was one in France, and I told them to bring the head down underneath your knee and take your shoes off. They'd throw me out of the fitness convention. I said, I have to leave because it said heart can never be under hips, Jane Fonda. I said, yeah, but if we think holistic, it was 191. If we think holistic, why not? Why shouldn't we do isometric training? Why? I'm a dancer. I come from New York. I'm thinking therapy. Take your shoes off. It's the nervous system. I was so early with this whole thing, they didn't take me serious. They kicked me out of the whole fitness convention. I was sitting on the main train station crying. Why? Then people don't understand. Like, and then I had friends. They said, Robert, why don't you go back to dancing? I said, I do, but I also, if we continue what we're doing in 20 years, everybody will be sick. And the people say, yeah, right. And I was like 16, 17, 18 years old. And then I stick with it. And then and I already educated around, I would say 1,000 instructors in 5 years.
Nice.
And I did all these educations, and I started to be a fitness educator with 17, 18. I had my friend driving me with a little Ford Fiesta car everywhere. It's like through the country, and I educated people in this bad stuff.
Yeah, it's funny, like the Reebok, but Reebok shoes is probably like, well, we want people in shoes. And you're saying take the shoes off. So there's
Yeah.
usually like a leverage in those systems. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that whole story arc. I know we're only a quarter of the way through, if that. So let's keep
Well,
going.
that's what I became. And then I created body art. It was not me, it was my friend. She said, call it body art because you want to do all therapy. And then I on the beginning, I took yoga and Pilates and a lot of modalities and Tai Chi. And I thought the fitness industry, and I never wanted to go to the fitness industry. It was the biggest mistake in my life. But then I became an icon in that. And I thought, I want to be to the dance or to the therapy or to children or to athletes. But Reebok was so powerful. They sent me all over the world, like 5 times. And I was in all those fitness convention, and there were like thousands of instructors, and I was in a circle of, I couldn't get out anymore. And I said, okay, if God wants me or the universe wants me to be in that industry, maybe it's my time to change those way of being so sexy and external. So I went like a rebel, said, stop being so external, go internal, go holistic, go. And I was one of the first, and I'm getting out of it. Finally.
What's the goals now?
Well, Body Art has around 30,000 instructors worldwide, and after COVID, maybe narrowed it down to 11,000. Just had a big meeting last week. For me now, I want to be there as their creative director and as their leader in the mindset. So I also canceled all my workshops. I said, look, because my mom died recently, which is okay, she's still there, but she left the planet. And what I realized is done. I took care of her and I said, done, done, done. I said, I need to be there to lead those people in a mindset, in an authentic way, because the world is changing. The fitness industry is crazy, and a lot of people are falling and looking for something deeper. And Breathwork, for example, or myofascial training, they look for healing inside out, and for real healing, not for entertained fitness, American-based entertainment healing. They look for the real stuff. And I think something is awake in them. They know when the real stuff is in front of them because it makes them cry. And I think the whole humanity in the moment is connected with something they don't even know. And it gets worse, or it gets even bigger and better. But worse for them, good for us. The frequencies get higher. So, and I think the ones adapt, and then your life shakes up. And I think, why not showing the industry of fitness like, hey, come, I help you out. I connect you again with who you are, instead of shaking your ass or lifting a dumbbell.
I love you.
Don't get me wrong. You can also shake an ass. Like,
Yeah,
but
for
he's like,
sure. But
yeah,
if the goal
I'm a
is to
dancer.
grow the booty, that's different than the goal of seeking your solace, increasing your proprioception. Like, health is such a long-term journey that if
Yeah.
someone's looking for a body type, you're always going to be in flux. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You're going to maintain that goal even if you hit it for a pocket of time before, you get sick or stress
And you get
changes.
older.
Yeah.
You get, in the moment, everything is longevity, longevity. And I said to the people, what do you actually mean? Longevity is everywhere. And when you go, I go to a fitness convention like last weekend, like 800 people in front of me. And I said, what is longevity? You talk about it since like all the time and you even tattoo it. I said, what is it? Longevity is nothing else. Let's say you have a woman, she's single, she's 60 years old. I have a neighbor, she's like that. And she said, I want to be so healthy, and I want to get my bag in the morning, my high heels, and move to Italy. And she said, and I still have another 20 years to live and enjoy my life. Get some young lovers, and if not, she don't care. I get some beautiful coffee in the morning with some croissants, and I have the feeling I'm still alive and enjoy the life while I'm here. That's longevity. It's like,
Wow.
you just want to
Defining
be,
all of our longevity is actually like an interesting exercise. I was talking
I
with
think
Chris
so. Yeah.
this week about our health. We're both changing up our training programs for winter. And I just used to push so hard, Rob, that I'm realizing my goals are shifted now. Like, I don't want to throw a double backflip. I'm okay. I never need to have that experience unless I got water underneath me and then there's like a boat that I can, like, in the right
Exactly.
situation for sure. But otherwise, like, I'm okay. Like, I'll ride a horse. I want to still sprint train. So we were talking about the things that we do on the weekends now that give us the most energy. And it's been gardening. And gardening is this like weird long-term investment that totally kind of replicates what
And it
health is
grows.
like. Yeah, but it's always changing, and it's never like, oh, I'm going to add fertilizer once and it's going to be good forever. And I think people look at fitness like, I just want one thing that will make me good forever.
I think the fitness has a specific goal of looking good and feeling good. And the difference is the movement. Fitness training is not really healthy movements because otherwise a tennis player had to have to be 350 years old. It's like, so movement has nothing to do with the fitness. So we have to separate that. That does not mean you cannot do it. I love lifting. I'm Irish. I love boxing, lifting. My best friend is a kickboxer, and he always say, "Dude, let's box him." So and like, but I'm not competitive. I'm like, I hate everything what has to do with competition. I'm like, oh no. If you tell me like we both run, I say you win. Like I'm the turtle. It's like I come later and have a cup of coffee on my back. It's like, or I say I go already where you hike and I wait and I get you with nice teas and coffees and snacks. Okay, let's go. See you. And then I meditate. I'm really lazy, but I cannot say I'm not. But in that term, what other people think is fun is for me like, it's not so much fun. It's like, why hiking so fast? Can we not just do slow and half? I don't get it. But I have this laziness inside of me. Maybe it's my nation. I don't know. But lazy in terms of I like to dance for hours. That's great. Like that's a cardio. But if you put me on a running thing, no. Because I'm so heavy. I'm 240 pounds on muscle. So I'm like, this is so heavy. Like bison.
Bison?
A bison, yep.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, like a
like, "Ah."
bull.
Exactly. I'm like, a bull is. Do you ever saw a bull on a treadmill? No. So, no. And then I realized maybe I can do biking for something what is fun for me. So I realized I go on a bike and I put the bike really heavy. So I like that. Like, oh, nice. So
That's
not
so funny.
like heavy, heavy. I'm like, oh, I like it. I like resistant, not too heavy, but heavy and not fast and for an hour and I
Yeah.
sweat. This is cool. And if I look at those spinning classes and they go like, and then they do some choreographies on the bike,
Yeah.
like yoga on the bike. This is really necessary. Like, I'm like, why? And then the people come out like flashed, like, wow, it's amazing. And I said, sure. I cannot find this.
Hmm.
Come to body art, come to breathwork. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it a lot. But this is why I created in breathwork also motion because it's together. And this is breathwork without motion. When I started breathing, I'm like, oh, it's boring. I need more of my fashion and the chi and the hu and the kung fu. I like the martial arts and the whole factor. This is missing when it's not there.
I gotta tell you, Rob, there's a lot of people in America that are stuck inside of linear training, like the classical positions, and their hips are susceptible to injuries. Their shoulders are susceptible to injuries. So if people are watching and they're like, oh, I would never the way that you choreograph the dance is full joint motion.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So it gets the cardio up and then you're moving the joints in a way that we don't get under a barbell or like on a machine. I really appreciated how you were talking about the animal that exists within you because I am a nature child. The filter that I put through everybody in my life is if you were an animal, how would you show up? And I think that relates to fitness styles that people enjoy. So for you loving like a super heavy resistant bike, that actually makes sense. Like looking at you
Totally.
as
I
a
love it.
bull,
Yeah.
you
Or a
know?
grizzly. They call me bear, grizzly.
Yeah.
I did
I'm
a I
a,
did a test. What is your bear? What is your animal, spirit animal? And then it
yeah.
showed up the brown grizzly. I'm like, "Oh, great. I want to be like you, a hummingbird."
I feel like so the hummingbird in me in Chinese medicine or in Chinese astrology, I'm a horse, which is like strong legs, good hair, and I really love sprint training. Yeah, I feel
I can be with this thing if you want to, and with a nice water, clean water for you.
the horse and the hummingbird. Like I like that rapid style training. Like give me a 15-minute kick your ass workout.
Oh my
I
God.
love those. You know what I mean? Like I would
I
never want to
teach
do.
those. I teach. I'm a great teacher, but I'm not joining. I can teach you. I kick your ass in training as a therapist. Like I do the best intensity classes. You know why? Because I'm never joining. So I tell them, go deeper, do this more. hold this more. It's great. I'm good in that. Now, everybody who listens from my trainer
Mhm.
will probably enjoy this now because they say, why don't you do it? I said, do you ever went to a dentist and does his own teeth? Or do you go to a massage and he massages? I'm your trainer. I don't, I'm not your entertainer.
How are you training these days? Tell me, like, are you in a recover? I think 3 months out of the year, all of us should recover, which is just looking like laziness. But
Months.
I like a 12-week where it's really like relaxed and you're not progressively overloading anything. But where are you at right now in your training?
I'm doing a lot of breathwork in the moment because I have such a big success. And in breathwork, I'm using those called biodynamic breathing, like this Kung Fu movement. So I'm doing so much, my body changing because teaching those courses and leading the people into this ancient movement techniques, then over and over and over. It's more this, I realize that motion does not have to do with kick ass on external goal. So I added all those balanced motions with the breathing together. It kind of melts together. It arrives in the system. I said it's like love. Breathing and motion needs a moment and it arrives in your consciousness and it's changed everything. And now I also started to not pushing myself so much in the gym. I like to go training 4 or 5 times a week in the gym. And what I started now, believe it or not, is cardio training. But I do it like every day. I just call my buddy on the treadmill. And he said, where are you? I said, on the treadmill. You on the treadmill? Yeah. But I do it for 1 hour. Just easy
Huh.
and very long. And I do all my social media and everything and all my work with the secretaries in my office, all on a bike or or a stairmaster, but no running machine. They're my enemies.
Huh.
Don't like them. They don't like
That's
me.
kind of inspiring for me. I wonder if I could take a couple meetings from a
This
treadmill.
is so cool. Do it. And I
Interesting.
knew you have so much space in your everywhere. You just buy a bike or and it's so perfect. And then you just go bloop, 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 bloop on your phone and do everything um
Hmm.
on this treadmill. And then you do cardio. But you're so skinny and tiny, so you don't need anything. You don't need to lose weight
You
or
know,
anything.
my goals are I want to have a set of Tina Turner legs. She's been my role model for a lot of years, and she has the most beautiful legs I've ever freaking seen. And I got to tell you, as a female, like I'm 35 now, and I am in good shape, but I would really love to have a sick pair of legs. Like I would like to walk myself through my 35-year plus with just a gorgeous set of legs. And you have to earn those. The women that rock them, they
It's a
train.
tissue muscle what makes the legs looking good.
What do you mean a tissue? When you say that, tell me.
Like when you have all the myofascial and the tissue muscles in your leg, when you train the length of your leg and the axis, like swimming or jumping or trampoline or ballet, all the tension. And when you change all the tension in your leg, or even climbing, this is when the leg looks good, or dancing, but more the tension. There are a lot of exercises even from the Chinese medicine where you change the tension and the fascia from the entire leg. I
Hmm.
show you. And then you hold, it's kind of holding poses. They go from dynamic into static and they change your entire muscle into the fascia. It's so great exercises.
Are they like ballerina moves, like your leg lifts to your max extension? No. Okay.
Mm,
I am
no,
excited to see these.
like a V pose from yoga.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Downward dog.
yeah, and then downward dog, and then
Mhm.
you lift one leg, you bend it, and then you go up and down, always literally like 35 times. And then you stay
Okay.
all the way up, and then you bend the leg where you stay on. And you're like,
Okay.
what? You never did it, for sure. And you're like, is it possible? And then the whole leg starts to shake because the tension is changing, and it really trains the legs. There's some
Interesting.
exercise I'll show you. I sent you a video.
Yeah. That would be great because I know I'm missing something as like when I do sprints, I get really good definition. And when I do lifts, I get really good strength and it's like a robust shape. But the women that have the most killer legs, they have this teardrop shape that in it really the best ones I've ever seen. There was this pole dancing instructor and
Yeah,
she was like in her
tension.
late 40s, early 50s and I crossed the street and I was like, I'm so sorry, but this is the most amazing set of legs I've ever seen. I was like, I need to know how you train. And what I got from her was split training. So like the inverted training where you're at full extension and then you're training your body to hold those full extensions, which is,
Exactly.
you don't
It's a
train
whole
that way
intention. Exactly.
unless you go out of your way for it. Cause like no machine's going to get you into those spots.
It's funny, I have a lot of instructors, and I say in body art training, we always have the holistic approach. We never go for one muscle. We go always for holistic, and we don't say the shoulder. And then we have all these women say, Robert, can you please create an exercise for the tissue muscle for like the cellulite and the legs? And I was like, seriously? I said, okay. And then I did it.
Nice.
I
Nice.
said to you, this is the only muscle I kind of focused on out of my holistic approach of training. Like,
Us
because
women,
everybody kept asking me.
yeah, we sit on our butts for hours and hours a day. And like, even though I'm so active, I'm still sitting on the computer. And like now I've been putting my computer up and standing on like a balance log. But there's still it's a lot of hours that we sit on it. And I think that having something that kind of works that is good. So thanks for making that for us. I can't wait to check it out.
I actually do it like now. I have on my website. It's called Nemo Night and Morning, and I put in there every morning a specific topic, and I have a couple times myofascial and hips and ass and core, and I'm like, "Ugh, I hate that." They downloaded the most. I said, I don't want to do fitness, but I understand. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, you want to bring people into the core of their soul. The body is just a.
It's okay, if you do a lot of breath work and nutrition and you're a spiritual person, why not shaping your stomach or your core or your chest or something? I have a lot of men, I have this big chest things going on, but honestly, I'm really very, if you see me train in the gym, I'm really not pushing so hard, like like everybody around me. I'm not this hard pusher. And I'm gifted with this. I think my body remembers from physical training, from gymnastics. I did gymnastics from the age of 5 to 16. And I was like, "Mm." And then my body just gets back into track, like the ring gymnastics and then all that stuff. So I don't need to do a lot anymore. Like, how do you train your back? I said, never train my back. How do you train your legs? I never train my legs.
Well,
Relax,
but
like,
as a gymnast, though, you learn body line positions. So there's certain
exactly.
positions that work incredible amounts of muscle groups. And
Yeah.
to me, the gymnasts have that edge where if you can just talk 9 body lines,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can kind of work literally everything we have in place. And to me, fitness is still kind of stuck until we transition. Like gymnasts have arguably the most strength per pound, and uh, their training mechanisms are more efficient and more difficult. Like you need less equipment, and it's going to challenge your body way more. That's where I'm kind of at.
No equipment at all. Body art has no equipment. You just need your body. It's like, why do you need? Well, for if you want to gain muscle or stuff, yeah, you need a good gym training. But actually, you can do everything with your own body. But I understand if people are not so conscious and they start training and they're not so flexible and not so mobile, then let's get some dumbbell.
I like the energy of the gym, though. Do you just like to kind of go and kind of feast off of everybody working on their athlete?
It's very hard as a therapist when you go in the gym. I have to do that because in the moment, like I was at, I hope nobody sees me now. Equinox. I
Yeah.
was at Equinox in America, and it was always on this when I started cardio, and I look around to the people, and I'm not judging. I just couldn't find the exercise they're doing on the machine. Like, what is the idea? So I try to at least like, what are they doing? Is it like you on a treadmill, but now with one leg and one arm up down? Like, what? Like, what are they thinking? You see things you never see. It's
Oh,
like I
the
kind of like it's
elliptical? You know what I mean?
yeah, or they stand on the reverse on a leg machine and then they press and hold, and I'm like, what's going on? Like people try to use those machines and they try to get special variations in it or stuff, and they wrap tubes around something. I'm like, what are they doing? So what are they thinking? So it's more interesting for me as a therapist. What are they
Yeah.
really thinking? So because it has a reason for them. but I can't find it. And sometimes in America, I went in there. I love US. I love New York. And then sometimes I have to say something. I have to step in as a therapist. It's like, excuse me, can I help you? And this is not a good idea in America. And then they tell me what to do. So I gave up.
We're
I said,
stubborn here.
very. They said, no, this is how I do it. And this is blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
Like, not the Swiss, like, not the polite.
No, I mean, every state's a little bit different. New York is definitely going to be a little bruntish. In the South, I think we're a little kinder, we're a little softer.
I have a question for you. When, you're so famous in breathing and in myofascial, or you work so hard in putting all your life into your podcast and into your social media and you get the teams together. What's your goal?
Wow, what a good question. I am so funny. 3 months ago, I had an answer for that, and I'm like witnessing that answer change a bit. I think my goal before was like save the world, bring us back into
Sorry,
the
really?
revolution of the
Okay,
body.
okay.
I know that
I join
sounds
you.
yeah. I
Musical
had this
breathwork thing.
I had this dream, Rob. I had a dream that there was this massive like ants. It was like black energy falling over each other, like and crumbling. And the dream zoomed me in and it was people. And on the outside edge of people, there was a line and it zoomed me in deeper. And I was part of this line. And I had linked arms with all of these other like teachers and leaders and educators. And we were singing and dancing, but like maniacs. It was like we were buffering ourselves. Like there was a space between us and all of this other black mass from our laughter. But we were singing and dancing like our lives kind of depended on it. And when I looked to my left, it was Alex Zek. And when I looked to the right, but it was like a whole row of people. And we all played a part in like maintaining this frequency.
Yeah.
And if I had to deduce like what my job is, I think that like my job is to create a link between all of these leaders and educators and to stay in a high frequency space. And like, I don't have the direction, I don't have like an end goal, but I do know that if we all stay together and we remain observant and aware and together, there's a lot of beauty that could come from that. So I don't think I have the answer, but I think that the structure, the bridge between scientists and therapists, the bridge between the woo-woo and the research engineers that are there, there's an opportunity in all of our minds right now to move out of a binary way of looking at things. This is right, this is wrong. This is evil, this is not evil. Move into a framework of frequency, and frequency is a gradient, and it becomes like, well, what about murder? Like that's the first thing that my like Daniel said when we have these conversations about like there has to be a good, because that's why people go to religion. They want a boundary of tell me what to do so that I can be a good person, just like they come to us in fitness saying tell me what I can do so I can be healthy. And it's like, nah, you have to take responsibility. Every day is a millions of choices you have to make for your health or for your lack of health. And being a good person in my world, like I believe in the garden. Like this is what teaches me about life and death. And what I've learned from the garden is that life creates more life.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
death
had,
turns back into life. If you apply
well,
light.
I think the death is the thing. Life is death. And so nobody get it because I think, let's see, we are like an infinite energy and you come from the infinite energy. That means that you were whole. But if you see the traditional Chinese medicine, there's the yin and yang, the day and night, in, out, polarity in the yin and yang, inhale, exhale, female, male, all the polarity. So also aging, inhale and exhale is a polarity in itself. Everything exists in the polarity, even light and let's say God and Satan, if you want to call it. Let's say light and shadow. There's no up and down. There's an expansion. If light expands, the shadow expands. It's a law, and there's both in it. But imagine you come from an infinite ocean, and you decide to be a raindrop, and douche, you fall down to planet Earth. Well, this is when the problem starts because in our time-space reality, they have polarity. So in the moment you inhale, you start aging. So, and then you go to a journey and then you will fall and you will stand up, you will cry, you will smile, you will be in love. The heart will be broken. You will be sick. You will be healthy. The first part of your life is health and expansion and creation and beautiful. When it's done, the second part of your life is falling apart, getting until you die. So, but we ignore this. And then we get scared. There will be all emotions in it, every element earth, wood, fire, metal, water, compassion, joy, anger, love, rage, sadness, letting go. Everything is in it. The main emotions. That's pretty exhausting. And then you go back to the infinite. So actually, what do you think is death? In the moment you come as a raindrop to this planet, you're trapped in polarity and you have to make all those experiences. So the universe learns, and when the universe learns, you learn, and you learn the universe. So the universe puts you there in this damn trouble, which is amazing adventure. But so what's death then when you go back into the infinite?
It's just like evaporation. So we hit the ocean, then we merge with the one.
Amazing. So what's life then? Life is death. So you're trapped here and you have to go through all this things. Like,
not good, not bad. Just a range of frequencies.
Exactly. It's so like shit. So you're an avatar in a game here. And now and then we get bombarded with all these things and you have to hold your space here. And this is why I think also collective healing in the moment is the big thing. Like on the 30th October, they say the Schumann resonance shifts like crazy. Okay, great. You have an electric field. The Schumann resonance have 1.78. Your heart has a resonance, and we all are trapped into this frequency cage. And
Yeah.
it is a big, like in an aquarium, when you put a fish into an aquarium and there are all other fishes, you need to hide or at least create your own space. This is what we need to do. But the consciousness in those aquarium or in this cage of frequencies just means you have to hold your space. And this is what I think in the moment in this world is so crazy because people don't know who they are, where they come from, what is the truth, who is the pharma. The pharma wants to kill us. The politicians are just puppets. It's like now they want to create our food. They want to poison our food. They already get manipulated from the school system. We found out that aliens are coming. Whatever. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, where are we? And then in the morning you open the magazine, it's like, oh, now it's plastic in the rice. And now there's no more natron. And I'm like, okay, and now they cannot even have a free speech anymore. And now they can shut down your phone. And now everything is, what the fuck? Is that, you know what I mean? So how should we have a collective healing? And this is what people ask me recently. I was a therapist for kids, handicapped children, and I was also a therapy for sexual rape children. And the problem is when the children cannot heal when the parents don't create a unit. But when the grandparents already hate the parents and the parents hate the child has no circle. So, and when the society hates this entire family, how should the kid heal? So it cannot, because the circles the kid has, the parents, the society, the grandparents, the kid is dying. So what do you need to do? But the same is in the moment happening in our countries. We have absolutely, I mean, especially in Germany, the Germans hate the immigrants. Full of immigrants. The immigrants hate the Germans. The politicians hate the Germans, and the immigrants hate Germany. And now everybody in Europe hates Europe, and Europe hates Germany. Germany hates Europe. It's what the fuck? So, and you're in the middle. How should you heal? Because there's no way you can heal. And this is what people ask. So, where's healing? It's very simple. When you see in frequency, when you have to hold your frequency. You push everything out, what is not love, what doesn't suit to you, and create that seed like your garden. And it creates life because you're a frequency. There's no way you cannot. This is a universal law. And the moment you create that, you create more love. And everything what doesn't fit to you, out. So authenticity is the same way, out. No frequency that cannot help you grow or expand. Then there will be other bubbles with the same frequency. And then you meet them. And then you collect a network. And that's where healing starts from inside out.
I want to help people bridge like illustratively what you're talking about, because I absolutely agree with you. One time I tried to make a fire in the rain, and I was tripping on
Of course,
mushrooms, and it was a ceremony,
of
and
course.
there was lots of prayers.
Brooke, sounds like you.
Yeah. And in order to, like, in ceremony, which you have sat for a bunch, I have sat for a bunch, there is a sequence of setting up a grid around you. And it's in that barricade that you're talking about. I talk about the biofield. We both talk about our electromagnetic field. We're talking about bolstering your own vibration. And we both talk about the frequency of breath rate. So people talk about vibration and vibes, but you and I really bring it down to breath rate, heart rate,
Only
brain waves,
hurts.
body tension. We are literally an instrument emanating either a strong signal or a weak signal. And we are just one magnetic system inside of a complex system. And I'm totally in agreement that resonance is required for healing. And in a state of
Only.
schism, yeah. And if the bigger systems are holding this complex schism energy, how do we buffer ourselves? And it's creating our own pocket of heaven is an internal job, regardless of where we
Your
are.
bubble of frequency.
Yes. And when I remember making this fire in the rain, and I needed to like just keep making it smaller and smaller to just keep growing the fire. And everybody else had tried to make the fire. It was like 5 people had failed. And I made it like such a
Yeah.
tiny beginning.
It's the same.
And then it started to grow. And once it got to a certain size, the rain couldn't mess with it anyway. So I kind of feel,
Interesting.
yeah. Yeah, that was the imagery that came to me while you were talking about that. I mean, that's our job. I think that maybe there's not one direction. It's more of a shape that we all get to hold together in this day and age. And it's like, it's our presence. That's our observation, our
Just hold your
presence.
space. I think there's nothing in the moment we can do. We can just hold the space, because now it's like in the traditional Chinese medicine, when there's expansion, here is an expansion, and we can only expand here. Otherwise, and don't have fear, don't focus, don't watch the news, because it just feeds that frequency. Just don't care. Just look in the other space. This is not ignorant. This is the only way what you can do, and start to get common sense. This is what most of the people lost. Like, what's going on? It's like kind of weird in the moment, because even that get manipulated. It's just like, I don't know. It's like, it's weird in the moment. So as a therapist, as when you're very awake, like, what is going on? It's like, is everybody had a pill of being goo in the morning? It's because the problem is when people fall asleep, it just doesn't, it just only means they're not so conscious what's going on around, and they got played into, this is what you need to believe. In the magazine, everything is true. Get vaccines, take the pill, get digital passports, like, and they don't know why. I'm like, stop. It's like, and they think this is a great thing. Now in Germany, they have this new thing, really honestly, and I don't know what to think about. Now, today, they signed that all the immigrants need to have digital paying cards. So the money they get is only digital. So every shop needs digital machines. So the good thing is to get the immigrants out of the country again. They come in just to have money. Is give them everything digital. This is amazing. So they don't have cash anymore. And this is so great. And then the Germans said, this is an amazing idea. I'm like, stop. Because once they have all these cards in every shop, the next step is, why don't you take the digital card? So I'm like, hallelujah. And it's all wrapped in, oh, we come from such a good place. We all like you. This is all amazing. And I said, and then I just walk away from it and said, you know what? It just doesn't matter anymore. It's like, and I hope there's this boom coming of frequency and energy where there's no more, where the light is so big that everything shifts naturally by itself, like in a garden. There's nothing we can stop anymore. I still hope for that. Hope for humanity? No, hope for frequency. Like, would push the rest up like that. You kind of see it. It's like, I hope for anything what is rising in the moment. I think that's the most important.
I wish I had more answers and more hope. I've been really sitting with my feelings about, where we are at and what our options are as influencers and leaders in our community. And I keep coming back to this state of like, stay present and stay aware, but surrender.
Hold your space. Hold your
Yeah.
space is my thing.
Build my heaven, just kind of like refocus all of that confused, chaotic energy right back into my garden.
So it's like your garden is like your friend.
I almost think that sovereignty is the word I keep using, Rob. Sovereignty is like our independence of mind, like going to get our own water, like making our own food.
This is difficult for people. They live in cities and they have no access to all that. You know what I mean?
I know, but our ancestors figured it out. It's like the dependency on systems is like where the people in power have leverage. So the less dependency we have on their systems, the more we can kind of rattle the cage. Because even when we look at neurology, right, and how people make up their mind, and the people that haven't asked questions, it means that at some point their brain said, I will never question religion. I will never question the cops. I will never question the doctor. And so they build all this trust in their brains. And then this trust right now is being rattled in people because this new information is coming to light. And so their brains are having to literally renegotiate how they have fundamentally looked at the world. And everybody's fear is being triggered because these things that they trusted now are not to be questioned or need to be questioned further.
Yeah,
Like
you
now they
said
have
the right word.
more.
The fear of the people is what is get played off, and they create more and more and more and more fear. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And I think there's nothing you can do, because when you're not weighed, or when you don't, how do you say, when you don't get taught different, then you're full of fear. I see it with my parents. This is kind of crazy. I cannot talk to them. They make me upset. That's like, because my father said, I just was reading this in the magazine. And I said, and he's already so sick he gets vaccine so many times that he feels so bad. And then I said, maybe you need to detox. He said, bullshit. I was reading in the magazine, this is all bullshit. I said, Father, it's like, it's kind of, and he's such a sweet person, and he said, oh, you were just reading this about the politicians, and this is an asshole, and this is an asshole. I said, they're just puppets. Look, and then they promised us this, and they promised us this. I said, no, what are you talking about? Like, they have nothing to say. And it's a big show. It's like, don't look to the other direction. It's like there's no way they will ever change anything. That they already has a focus on your wood and in your love and in your self-care, and create a bubble where you can hire your own frequency. But it's very hard to say to my parents, for example. To my father, he's not very conscious, create a bubble of frequency. He looks at me like, what are you talking about? Are you in some religious? I try to help him to come back to his own spirit. And I told him about frequency and about food, and not getting on chemical in food. And he asked me, are you in a sect, like a religious? I said, no, father. It's like, and I just try to talk to him with basics, but I don't know. I don't know what needs to change. I think we just need to hold a space for many, many, many people. Do a lot of breath work. It sounds funny, but do a lot of movement, because this is how your energy body wakes up. And then from there, we can see where everything goes. I think this is the only thing you can do in the moment with humanity. And we all realize that something is wrong. We all
Yeah.
realize. If you don't realize this anymore, then where are you? What? Hello? It's like crazy. I have another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you if nobody is watching?
I'm just a book reader that hangs out in my garden and plays some instruments. I call myself a wizard quite often because, like, I
Uh-huh.
don't need too much. I can live at like the edge of a small town in the midst of the woods with my little turtle friends and my little bird friends and my little doggy friends. I think that's who I've always been. Like when I lived in the teepee as a kid, I don't think I ever needed to move out of the teepee. I think that the moving out of the teepee was kind
You
of
still
forced
live in
upon
that
me.
teepee. Just when I
Yeah.
kind of.
I mean, if
And
I didn't have instruments, I would definitely have a lot more of a barn style house, which is it's mostly just a cottage. So when no one's watching, I'm just here. I'm just with my potatoes and my dog and my family. And my life is pretty simple, and I ask a lot of deep questions. I'm not fascinated by the illusion. The illusion of music, the illusion of clubbing, the illusion of shallow friendships. the illusion
Yeah.
of travel without a point.
And I call the illusion, I call it time waste. I don't waste my time with this. I don't like wrong people, wrong jobs, wrong relationships.
Yeah.
But you have, I mean, I was in your house. You're beautiful. You have beautiful parents. You have beautiful, everything beautiful. You just really get your shit together. That's what I think. I was like, Brooke
Oh.
really has when I say Brooke is amazing, she's wild and she has her shit together. She knows what she wants. Let's put her stake over there because most of the people don't.
Yeah, it's a lot to be a business owner. I don't think
Yeah,
many
I
people
know.
are built for being a business owner. And because my mom and dad are, I think, and then I went to business school and then I helped, 3 friends run their businesses. I think that I don't kid myself on what it takes to build a global education company. Like what you've done is amazing, Rob. And it takes devotion to the craft and devotion to still remaining creative. And like, I applaud you for your ability to film in the places that you do. Like you invented your own setup. It's amazing what you're able to pull off. Like I pull in a whole crew to do what you do by yourself on the top of a mountain to get
Takes
3
forever.
angles. I can ask you a question because I have one for
Awesome.
you, and I'm hoping that we can squeeze it into the next 20 minutes. So, Rob, you are what we call a death angel. I have never before you met a death angel. I had never been exposed to what that is and what that looks like and how that feels. And it's
I
a,
look like I was in your house, in your living room.
yeah.
You're still alive.
I think that the shaman energy that you carry is very real. And I think that you have a perspective on death in life that is wise and comforting. And I was hoping that maybe you'd be open to sharing a little bit about like how you got started, what that looked like for you, and what you've learned from it.
So, should I tell you about how it started in general? Was
Whatever
over.
you're comfortable with.
I tell you how it started. First of all, being around death was a fascination for me, even as a child. Also, I was always a bit different. I loved the night. So I walked in as a little child. I was in the night. I'm a night owl, like 2, 3 a.m. Wake up. I don't need a lot of sleep. Funny wise, I loved going in the woods in the night, and the fear was never my thing. Everything was, I loved Dracula, and it was always my grandfather always was scared. He said, it was so scary. You always wanted to watch Dracula, but then you were on the side of the Dracula. I said, no, don't kill the Dracula. He said, I was always a bit weird, I think, and I don't know the answer why. You
Magical
too?
children scare their
Yeah, he
parents,
said he
man. I
wanted
could
to.
see ghosts, so I understand in my own way.
My grandfather said you were always wanted to watch Dracula, and it always came on TV at 1 a.m. And you pleased me so much to stay awake to see it. And then I was scared, and you were like, "Yeah, yeah." It was a weirdo. So, but then as 9 year old, my father had a carpenter industry. There was somebody who had a heart attack, and then he died in front of me, and I was 8, 9, don't remember. I remember the day, and I looked at him and I said, "Oh, he's dead. You don't need to call. You need to hurry. It's fine." And I went out to the garden in the hammock and like, la la la. Everybody thought, because everybody was shocked. My grandma, my grandfather, my parents, the wife. I said, don't be scared. And I said to his wife, he's dead already. Don't worry. And I left. And I don't remember. People still tell me, well, that's so crazy. You turned over to his wife and said, don't worry, it's fine. And I said, and then they sent me to a psychiatrist. And then on the psychiatrist, he told me that we are from the monkeys, and he came with his whole evolution concept. And there was a candle in the window, and I asked him, "Did your wife die?" And then they sent me to the neurology stuff, and then like they couldn't that, and then I think they agreed that I'm weirdo. And then I kind of realized that it was weird. My grandfather always said, "I never tried to raise you because you did your thing." Like, it was kind of weird. He said, I was reading comics all night and I was in the morning tired. And my grandfather woke up and he said, you read all night. I said, did I complain? I was like 5 years old. I did not complain. I'm tired, so leave me alone. It's like he said, it was weird. And he was in World War. So I told him many things about feelings. And he said, it was so weird. I could never hold you and teach you and raise you. You had your own way. So, and I still
Hmm.
do. And I always thought I was wrong, with the way I'm thinking. I protected handicapped children because we were in a school with handicapped children together with healthy children. I protected them. And I said, it was all weird. And then I became fascinated with life in itself. What is life? What is life? I became 13 years old and I thought, I don't want to be a Catholic. So I went to an office and I signed off being Catholic. You can do with 13. I never told anybody till I was 40. It's like my grandma said, are you Catholic? I said, no. I stepped out of church and she said, when? 20, 35 years ago. I said, you cannot complain anymore. It was 20 years ago. And she said, true. I said, you missed that. And I was fascinated with religion itself. So I went to Jehovah's Witness. I was like 12. And my grandfather was like, completely, you cannot do this. I want to know about death. What is death? What is life? What is death? And I couldn't find the answers there. And I stepped out of Jehovah's Witness. And then my grandfather said, oh, I'm fine now. Stay with Jehovah's Witness. And I said, no, I'm out. I'm with Hare Krishna. And he said, what the fuck? Do whatever you want. And I said, and I went to Hare Krishna because I was fascinated about the stripes and the singing, but I did not like the singing. So, and I was young, so I went to Dalai Lama in the days in Munich. I remember it was the Tibetan, it was the Hinduism, and what Osho. I was reading Osho books. I was like 12, 13. My brother is similar, but he is into Celtic. He's Irish. He reads all about Celtic. That was like funny when he was like 10 years old. Very
Hmm.
similar, but I was reading about life and death. The Book of Death was fascinated when I was reading the Book of Death from Tibet. Finally, I found I it's not the death I wanted. I wanted differently. So over COVID, long story short, I was invited. I had no more money, and my body art company um, closed because we only do courses, and I don't know what to do. And the governor did not really support me, so I thought I need a job. And the CEO of the company, which have supported death, asked me, "Well, you can help me out, and I can pay you a little bit of money." I said, "What do I have to do?" Well, we go home to the people, and in Switzerland, it's illegal. We inject them, and then they die. And I said, "I'm serious?" He said, "Yeah." So I remember the first time I did it was in a German country, and they do it. They found a way to legalize other countries because when you go to the country for a certain amount of time, the house is Swiss. You have to be Swiss, and uh, and then the police is coming, they come with you, and then you have to do the whole process, and then you leave, and for 10 hours they cannot enter because it's Swiss ground. And they have to have a certain membership with a Swiss company for a while. So we come and then we heal you. This is what you say. And we help you out. So I've been there, and I remember the first day when it happened, it was so okay for me. I kind of liked it, but not in terms of enjoying, in terms of holding the energy, the fear of, I kind of felt so, this bear energy I have was so perfect in the moment. It helped me so much to space out with this vibration, with this magnet, and then hold the space as, don't worry, everything is fine. But it came from inside out. It doesn't come from my head. It came from natural expansion. I'm like, what is that? And I was so sure. I felt comfortable, like with an old grandfather. It's like this energy, and the people calmed down. And then I said to my CEO, I do it. And he said, what? I said, let me do it. And then he said, are you kidding? People take months to do that. I said, no, why? And then I helped them. I helped them to die. And then he looked at me and he said, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. And there was no sadness or grief or something in the room. And then later, the son from those people came and said, "Thank you so much that there's anybody there in the world because they were so sick they needed to go." Second time, and then my CEO said, "Are you sure you want to do it by yourself?" I said, "Yeah." So I went there and I had this amazing wake up, and this is when it was for me. It became something which I already am and I could only express when I was there. It was very funny to see. And I understood life through doing this. It's not a job, doing this honor. And when I went there, there was two people. He had Alzheimer and was blind. She was really sick, but she also wanted to go with him. And when they have to dine sitting, by the way, not in laying down, and it's not so beautiful like they show it in TV. It's like, and then you have this nice family and with flowers, and when you arrive, the people are clear, they want to do it fast, and they don't want to know anything about you because they want to go. So there's no more ego. You're only there for them. This job is the most egoless thing you can do because you arrive, you are just a person they never see again. They don't care about you. They give more shit about you than anything else. They actually don't want you there. So like you arrive and they say, okay, let's go. Because they wait all day long for you arriving in the room. So you come. So they say, okay, please now, injection, something. They want to go because, for them, I think they wake up in the morning and they know this is the day where they leave. So I think they wait for you, tick tock, tick tock, tick, when you're finally coming. So when you enter the room, they jump already into the position they want to go. Because I think you don't want to wait anymore when you once make the decision to leave. So then you arrive and they really want to keep this done. So, but we have a lot of questions. So we record the death on the phone. We need to ask if they're sure. I don't like that process so much because they really want to go. But whatever, she died very quickly. And you can tell when the soul is gone. My mom had the same. When my mom died, she was out in a second. It's like, what the fuck? She was faster than anybody I killed. My mom was out so fast, I had to laugh. I said, excuse me, could you at least say goodbye? She didn't even say goodbye anymore. She was gone. She was not even in the airfare anymore. She was gone. And since this day, she's gone. She wanted to get the fuck out of here. It's like with my mom was the most funny moment. She died the fastest, uncool way ever. It's like, but some people don't die for a moment and they need a moment to say goodbye or whatever that is, you don't know. And then actually, I can say this now here on the podcast, you have to sit with the people all the time till you're sure they're dead. But I didn't. It was like, oh, I'm bored. Let's walk around in the house and see how they live and what stories is the house telling, There's a cat on the corner. There was cat food and stuff, or there was pictures in the room from some people. So what happened is I was sitting down on the living room on a table and I saw the guy, the woman, the wife was already gone. The guy took a while. He wasn't gone. So I thought, what's going on? Why does he need? He needs his time. And then I was sitting down and I heard the clock on the room, and old people have this tick tock, tick tock, tick. They don't have digital clocks. So no, they have the old clocks. And then there was a moment when you can feel, when you're very sensitive, there's a space opening up. It goes, and it's like, those movies, the things you throw things in the air and they stop. It's very similar. It goes. It's a second. And when you're sensitive on the clock, tick, tock, tick, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, it's a second of space. And then I was sitting and I never shared this with anybody. It's the first time I shared it in your podcast. I was sitting on a table. I looked over to the side and there was a piece of glass. I looked over to the other side and it says Mallorca, 1988. It was a muscle and it was written. Then I looked on the wall and there was a little tiny picture from a girl. There was hundreds of pictures, but one specific pictures. And there was a Scrabble game. It said dead, like dad, daddy, like mommy, daddy. And then I looked on the table and there was tons of M&M packages, but I looked to a specific color. It was a brown color. And then he was gone. And I thought, what was that? It was not me looking. It was this what it was. It's the frequency. When you love somebody, then you create a bound of energy, of frequency. When I say, this is from my granny, I keep it. So I keep my memory and my energy and frequency between my granny and me and that memory in this cup. Crazy. And then later the daughter arrived. And I said, can I ask you a question? She said, yeah. What is this glass? He said, oh my God, this is his favorite piece of glass. He brought it when he was a little boy. And I said, and Marcel? She said, oh, Mallorca, 88. It was a holiday with, do you see this little girl on the wall with a picture? It says, Dad, it was his only girl. She was not from his marriage. And he never saw her again, only once. And he kept this picture forever. And I said, and how about the M&Ms and specifically the brown package? I said, oh, his wife was American and they loved M&Ms and they always brought M&Ms from America, but they're M&Ms with almonds and he loved them, but only the brown ones. And I had to laugh. I realized he taught me so much about frequency and about breath work because they exhale on the end. That's when I get addicted to breathing because it's space. And then I realized, whoa, this is how we create reality. The moment we create thoughts, they are electrical or emotional or magnetism, whatever. But in the moment we create emotions, we put the emotions into something. This is my cup from Brooke 2025. So this cup is so important. I have to put it here. So this is my glass from my grandfather. This is the ring from from whatever, my first college, whatever. So in the moment I'm dying, of course, my body is leaving and I go back to the infinite. That means my energy has no more frame to belong to. And all those emotions that are linked to objects also disappear. This is how we create reality. This is my phone. This is my puppet. This is my friend. This is the place I live. This is the grandma I had. Yeah, this life, but not maybe next. Maybe your grandma was your lover last life. We create and we sign up for roles, for specific contracts. And then we bind emotions to it as a human, not as a spirit. And that's everything we connect from objects into human in this moment is releasing. And I got it. I got that so much. Hallelujah. And all my colleagues, they're also death angels. They always say, no, and I feel nothing. I get this all the time. And then I had a second woman. She was in hospital, Katarina. And when I helped her dying, there was a little object on the window and she was gone in 2 seconds. And I turned over my head. And there was a tiny puppet, like a Lego Playmobil thing. And then the family came later and I said, can I ask you a question? What is this little puppet? She said, oh, she got nothing with her. But in the hospital, this little puppet was from her little grandson. I said, of course. So she said goodbye to this energy. And I had to smile. I said, bye, Katerina. So I start talking. I said, goodbye, energy. Goodbye this, goodbye that. I was smiling. It was happening a couple times with me. So I knew, and some people were out in a second. So they had no connection to anything. And they were mostly not friendly. I was once in Switzerland. There was a guy. He said, hello, here's my rights. I know what to do. So please do that. I said, okay, I help you out. And he was gone. So he can realize, and he was a millionaire with a house and 500 cars, and he was just lonely. You realize the more you love and the more you live, then more energy you create to surroundings and space and things. Sorry if I say that, but Brooke, if you die, I'm not going around your house, not even clear, not even close. You have so much connection with all your things. You have to inform me. I'm flying to Europe. It's like, boom. It's like, it's heavy because you create.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
so attached to the land. Like I've had a dream of coming back here in the future as a bird and just checking on the trees and seeing where the waters are. And
As a hummingbird.
you are actually as a raven, but I would rather come back as a hummingbird, I believe.
So do you have a specific question about it to a death angel?
I'm so grateful that you just shared all of those stories. Every time you talk about it, I learn something new. Because, like in elite athletics or in performance art, when you have the sense of adrenaline, it's kind of like time slows down and you
Yeah.
can zoom in on how your body handles voltage and magnetism because of, as soon as the adrenaline hits, you're 5 minutes away from taking the stage and your heart rate goes up and your skin flushes. Slowing down that time is my obsession, really. How do you, take someone that's going to throttle their adrenaline and pull the greatest out of them? And I think that
Interesting.
death also has that transition, and how you described like how time slows down. It's like when there's more voltage in the electrons around you, magic is available. And magic in Western science isn't looked at as anything other than like fanciful, but there's
Harry
truly
Potter.
right. Versus electromagnetic fields can be manipulated by concentrated, focused attention when our electromagnetic field is coherent and resonant and strong. So there's a couple different things that our body has to get into to push out, to emit a strong field. Any leader, why is it like if a bird is a leader, or if a ant is a leader, if a human is a leader, it's like, wow, like what makes them different than those around them? And I think it's all dialed back into this electromagnetic state. And I think
Absolutely.
that transition from life to death is also one of those pockets that you, unlike anybody I've ever met, has had a chance to kind of repeat, like wash your hair in that experience again and again, and just be like, wow, what is it? Where does the energy of the body bounce around our universe? The things that we hold or create power in. It's funny, like wizard. Yeah, no, tell me what's on your mind. Tell me what's on
What
your
you
mind.
do actually when you are, maybe you can also explain it, what happened when you start to doing this, let's call it a job, but it's not a job. It's this, how do you say that? When you start to become a death angel, you clear out your house. It's a very funny thing. All of my colleagues do the same. You
Hmm.
sit in the house and you realize, oh my God, so many things. And then you get it. And you start to coming home. The first thing I threw away was my TV, my DVD, my CDs, my books, my table, my pictures, everything out. You open a cupboard, empty, empty, empty. I don't know why, you started to clear your house of simply everything. Kind of funny. Like, no, sometimes I was sitting there after I did that, and I got home and I was sitting and I thought, what else could I take out of my apartment I don't need? And I was sitting for half an hour, like in meditation. And I took one book and I gave it away to other people, or put it on the train station, say, take away, empty. And this is what you have to do to continue in a way. There was a very, very odd observation I had. And my colleague said, it is normal. That's what you start doing.
And
You
you just
cannot,
keep like crystal quartz in your house everywhere, which is
a lot.
super angelic and like an amplifier and like an
Yeah.
unmanipulated energy.
Everywhere. It's my favorite. My whole sleeping room is full. And I gave you one of the most
Hmm.
special ones.
Yeah. I wear it with me
So
all the time, and it's definitely special. It definitely doesn't feel like a normal it feels way stronger,
wait, what's
sturdy.
coming? Next time I play with the energy with my jewelry, it gets to like boom. Now I know. So it's very interesting. So another question, my last question actually for you, what made you so passionate and so obsessed with healing and the fascia and the tension, longevity and the brain waves and all that world of Harry Potter? I would say it's a magic thing behind. That's what tickles me and give this to people. And what is your purpose? Or was it more something as a human, or what do you think?
Wow, what a
And when did
beautiful
it start?
question.
And
I
when did
think
it
it
start?
Yeah, I think it's always been in me. I think I've always been like really passionate, and like even as a kid, I would come home from elementary school and climb a tree and sing songs. And I think part of me really believes in merriment. Like merriment is singing and dancing. So like musical breathwork, right? Rye musical breathwork. I believe life is a musical. Like we could be singing and dancing through our lives.
Yeah.
And that's the energy, like that fairy tale energy of like, imagine me out here in a glorious dress, just like singing, and peacocks are following me and the chickens like Snow White. As the animals exit, I think that the part of me that grew up on Pocahontas and like grew up having like mud fights and like climbing trees. When I was in nature as a kid singing songs, I felt the size of the land. I didn't feel like a small 5 foot, 100 pound little person. I felt like the closer I got to Earth and the wind and the stars and my voice, bigger. I felt like I was part of this giant piece of magnet beneath me. Like I was one with it. It was one with me. Like I was part of it making its own heaven, which I think every artist feels like when you're working on a canvas or a sculpture. Like you can start with your frame of mind, but like you have a conversation with the medium. The earth is a medium of mine. And like musical breath work is really just about us coming back into how this instrument of tension and rhythm emits naturally with this big magnet of earth and then bonding the two again so that we are like the gardeners of heaven. I think humans could play such an incredible role in rehabbing everything. And until we keep bees and plant mighty trees, we're not participating in that. And like that's where my head's at, you know? Like I would love to exit this life not only playing like a, 80 instruments, but having planted forests again, having birthed colonies, thousands of beehives. Because life is a musical. And it's like, well, what do we need? Okay, well, let's just plant more of those things and create habitats for that. Because that state of merriment exists in my heart. Like my inner child, when I was a kid, I had nothing but songs. Like the higher my energy got, I could just like make up songs and shout them to the wind. Like, and they were so
Yeah, and you had
hopeful
all the
and
magic and the theta brainwave.
yeah, just at the top of an oak
Yeah,
tree during a
exactly. Theta, theta,
windstorm,
theta.
I think that there's a power in that. Like the sound of music was really, part of a core memory of my childhood watching that with my grandma. And it's the hills are alive with the sound of music, and music is everywhere. Imagine if you teach people how to dance, in my opinion. Like you do so much more than that, but you get them back into feeling their body as a dancer. And I feel
Yeah, yeah.
like I want to get people back into singing, but not in this like constructive piano style, more in this like tribal
Yeah.
plan.
Like the Afro dance, the Afro sing, that rhythm,
Yeah, the
the primal,
mightiness.
the
Yes.
primal.
Getting them back into the
I
body
think
as an
this is
instrument.
the answer. My next question was for you, like, what's the thing they could never take away from you?
Hmm. I think my courage. I think that I have a ridiculous amount of courage. I had nightmares for about a decade, and my nightmares were full of being hunted and tortured. And so I've seen myself die
Hallelujah.
hundreds and hundreds of times. And I was distorted from it. Like for sure I have like more memories from nightmares than like high school. And I remember kind of waking up being numbed out. And I would never watch horror movies. I really protected my brain from that kind of demonic energy. But because of that, I had a real breakthrough like in my mid 20s. And I remember I had just like had all these battle scars around me and I was screaming into the mountains at hell basically, and I was saying no matter what you'll never be rid of me because I will always come back. And it was like at this moment there was like grizzly bears next to me and there was Clydesdales next to me and there was elephants next to me, and it was like the animal kingdom arrived as my fortress.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
yeah, so like in my emotional upheaval I just go back to the garden and like thank God for my garden. It's saved me.
You and your garden, you love your garden.
I really do. It's an
I
extension
will
of me.
tattoo over Chris all your garden.
You joke about that, but like the whole point of getting this red rose tattoo was to do a
I've only
whole
plants here.
crown.
Maybe that's why we like each other. It's a tree.
It's funny, my dad has a tattoo on the same arm of a big tree. I don't know if you guys shared that
Yeah,
when
we
you
are
were
both
here.
grizzlies.
Mm.
I like to. I never drink alcohol with your dad. Not so much. So sometimes, and with your dad right away,
Yeah.
like whoop, whoop, like the Irish comes out. And when I wrote a question down, I want to ask you, like, let's some questions deep with you. Is like I thought about. It was kind of funny because I realized what he could take never away from me, and I realized is my love for my grandma. This is
Hmm.
this is still there. I drove through Miami to your house. It had this wake up, and I thought because everybody, when my grandma died, which was my mom, everybody said, "Oh, because we were so close." And it was crazy when she get Alzheimer dementia. I took care of her for years, and then she turned into a little girl. So I try to love her for what she is and not the idea of what I want her to be. And then we drove over Miami, over the bridge, and then I thought, I don't want a home. The love to my grandma is my home. So it's not gone. So this is my home. And then I realized it made me so free. And when I wrote down the question, what he could take never away from Brooke, I'm like, oh, the love of my mom. She always comes back from my granny is something I could take never away.
Wow,
But
thank you for telling me that. That's so precious. Like so precious.
it was driving to your birthday. I had this great feeling. And that the last question, what do you think is the purpose in the moment for all the humans when you're born in this life in the moment, this crazy world? If somebody would ask you, why am I alive to this time and what's my purpose as a human now in this time or as a human in general?
It's so funny. You and I were just talking about this before we started, and I love that you brought it back up. I think that, and I don't love my answer, so like take this in or leave this. I think that you and I, at least, are challenged to remain present, to remain aware, and to remain connected. And I don't know if we can change what's going to happen, but I know that we can observe it and we can be alive for it, not numb it, not look away, but to just be present and to hold that space. And to me, the space holding is not just a term. It's really, it's emitting an electromagnetic field that feels like heaven for you. And it's pulling our energy and attention back into what we can control to make that field strong. So I think it's not just a passive, like, oh, we'll just be here. I think it's a very active doing breath work, remaining relaxed, and kind of remaining in a state of surrender as we build our heavens. What about you? What would be your solution?
Well, I can tell what I say to the people. I brought it into my breathwork education. And this is, I add very carefully things in because when you bring people up on the beginning, slowly. But then I realized, I think there are 8 stages of humanity. Number one, you're a little baby. When I was a therapist, I learned a lot about mm, how to say, influencing or manipulating.
Mhm.
Brooke. This is the stage number one. I think the next thing is that you get programmed for religion and father and the color and places you live and stuff. Number three, you have this program and you live it out. And I think a lot of people never rise above. 95% of the people live out the program from the religion they got and the father and all this, the conditions they put, and they think this is love. And then they run through the world kind of blind, using 10% of their frontal cortex. And then you have a wake up. You have a conscious wake up, you use medicine, or you have an accident or a traumatic experience, somebody dies, whatever, you wake up. And then you have to jump. And this, I think a lot of people are scared. Oh no, I stay in the marriage. Oh no, I stay in the job. Oh no. If you don't jump and you're a little wake and conscious, this is when the trouble cuts in, that you lose energy because a part of you is wake and a part of you makes the decision. Oh no. For example, if you stay in a marriage without love, you lose energy. The holes you run out, you bleed energy. And don't bleed energy. Don't make, you have to jump. And when you have to jump, you have to work. I think as a human, oh my God, there's Joe Dispenza and there's Brooke. So we're like, my God, all this work you have to collect. And then you wake up. It's like being a second child in a fairy tale, but the fairy tale now is pretty real. You create your destiny. You come, all this bullshit comes in, and you should not get lost in some esoteric stores and reading books that you like talk to angels. No, it's like, yeah, but first lens, you have to kind of, when you wake up, you can also get lost again into a bypassing and you become a woogity boogity teacher and you just jump in there. Waking up means waking up and learn about life. And this is a lot. This is where you and me are very similar. We teach people like stand with your feet and don't go away from with some
The body.
frankincense. It's like
Yeah.
stay close. And I think this is the stage. And then you get into a flow of living and love life and realize, wow, I really got it together. And then you don't want to go back anymore. You're not selling anything anymore for less than you are. And then I think, and then once you master this for a while, you want to share with the world. I think this is the reason why you're alive. And this is where everybody has to grow like a tree. And it starts from here, from independency, from a seed to a program. And then you don't know. You just live. And then you realize, whoa, I have to expand. And then you do it or don't. I have to nurture. I have to heal. Waking up also needs to heal wounds. That's the work. This name waking up has no. You still have to heal from the guilt or the stuff you did, or forgive yourself, or all this stuff. And then on the end, you die. You can meet a death angel, for example, in Switzerland, or you die naturally. And then you jump out again, and then you have to redo the whole thing.
Yeah.
Kind of funny. Like, hallelujah. But I think this is the purpose of humanity, to decide for yourself that you have this amazing life, and you don't get pulled back from the program, from the society telling you, no, you're not enough. You cannot do this. You blah, blah, blah. Because you see, when the vaccine came, I'm not vaccine, but I was very shocked how fast people jumped into, never thought about, what the hell are you doing? And now they turn back and said, oh, maybe it was a bad idea. It's like, you have to be awake before people say, jump down from a bridge. You know, if there's a plane and you say, oh, get into the plane. We never were flying before. Would you go on the plane? No, you would be more scared. You know, be more scared about things people tell you on the magazine, in the news, and like, wake up, have common sense. And I think it takes a moment till people realize, I'm the source and the others, and it's a different history. And we got told a lot of different things. I think that's the wake up a lot of people need to have. And I think that's the purpose.
Yeah. And in the wake up, there's nothing left except taking back the sovereignty and being more courageous to ask even deeper questions, and to put all of that trust that people had in the government or in pharmacology or in the police, and then putting it back into ourselves. That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah,
And
or accept things like they is and just keep it there. It is what it is. It's my favorite thing. It is what it is. Like, it is what it is. It's like, you cannot not pay for unconscious decisions what other people make. And I think, like, there are things. I had a very hard one in a moment. I had a friend, he called me from Palestine, and he said, my family is dying, everything is dying, but I'm not happy. And my grandma died. I'm so upset. I'm so upset about the war. I'm in the middle. I need to, and I'm like, my God, what should I say to this person? And he said to me, what should I do? You are so smart. Help me. And I said, whoa, that's a hard one. He's in the middle of war. He asked me as a friend for advice, and he sees all the harm and all the bad. So I gave him a perspective. I said, look, if the world is linear, and there was times where there was slavery, there was times there was wars, it's always about a frequency. And when you're in the middle of a frequency of war, this frequency will not change now, because the war frequency is a war frequency. So it's a water, and a heaven. You cannot change in the middle of the ocean, say, I don't like water. The only thing is, you have to be aware what you want to experience as a soul in life, and get out there to change the frequency. And you have to leave everything behind you to start a new life and live. Otherwise, it will eat you up. But if you decide you are in this frequency, don't fight the frequency, then try to do something different. And he made it out. And I was like, he listened to it, and he called me yesterday, said, I made it to Dubai. I'm free. You were right. I'm like, thank goodness. And he was so into this sick frequency of, there are motherfuckers that need to kill everybody. And I'm like, my God, there's so much hate, because it
yeah.
was not coming from him. It came from ancestors over ancestors. Hate about everything. And now he deals with the hate. He's in the breathwork course in Dubai, crying. It was so interesting. And I said to him, look, you cannot change. What would you tell a slavery who can run away 100 years ago? But here's a door. Would you stay or run? There's only two ways. If you stay, you sit in the slavery energy. Or if he is a door, if you see one door, jump. Don't be scared. And don't stay because of hate. What happens? Because you cannot change the frequency where you are right now. And I was really happy, because I realized, wow, he made it out, won. And I think that's beautiful in the moment. And I think this is how we have to see the world in the moment. We have to make it out. We have to jump. It is like, jump, like you said.
It's really good advice, Rom. I really appreciate you telling us that story. And that's certainly, like, what does it mean to be a leader today? It means to, like, all of a sudden be present and try to empathically connect with your friend, and then troubleshoot from his perspective,
Yeah,
not just yours, but, like, kind of put on his skin for a moment and say, okay, if I
yeah.
was you, how do I lead my family? I think that's wonderful advice, and, like, thank you for sharing that, and, um, I think that's a beautiful place to kind of leave us. Can you please share with my audience, it'll be in the show notes below, where you guys can find Rob, watch him, look into his channels, and can you inform my audience a little bit about what your upcoming projects are and how we can support you?
Yeah. My upcoming project is my passion. I was traveling 100 days around the world. I'm done. Next week is Irish and then over. And it's a 6 weeks program where you do every day something for 20 minutes, something somatic, like fascia work, or not so much fascia, more tapping. And then you do 20 minutes breath work, and then you do a 20 minutes visualization for 6 weeks to rewire your brain. Or I work on incentive to simple, beautiful own body workouts, very external orientated and fun, fun. And I travel around the world to just have fun on places and in different with animals, and nice things happen. I kept the camera on even when there were mistakes or people run in, because I don't like overproduced fitness videos. So I want to say, hey, come around the world with me, suck in the culture, suck in the
Mhm.
places, suck in the world. Don't stop AI. AI create. I always say, I'm in the middle of Africa. I drove here for 5 days. Let's do some workout. Let's do some meditation. And then an elephant is coming. It was kind of funny. I said, keep it real. Do something against the AI. I'm not against AI. It's great, but we need to keep being human. And the decision is, and this is my product. And the rest is, I don't know. I'm doing breath work and doing traveling the world and doing body art courses. I would teach one in English. It's based on the traditional Chinese medicine. You have 5 elements: earth, metal, wood, fire, water. Every element has an energy, an organ, and facial, an emotional topic. And I base a whole workout on it. And it's PTBT, physical therapy based training, for longevity and quality and sustainable, to sustain your energy. And it's very physical, but very traditional Chinese medicine. And it gives it, again, depth. It's a physical training, very deep.
I love
That's
that.
it. This is me.
Well, Rob, thanks for hanging out with me this morning. I look forward to our event that we have next January. Unfortunately, it's already sold out, so we are not even
You know
promoting
how many
that
people
on
you
us.
have? You know how many people you have?
How many?
The first, you have a VIP event with 20. And it's just the best breath teachers. And then you have like 40 like away. And you have like in total, you have like 70. All the breathworker team is coming, pressure on you. All the doctors are coming. Everybody want to see Brooke.
Perfect.
Because I need to expand your diamond. I need to give you more light so you can shine like crazy. So everybody's coming, and now it's closed, and now everybody wants to join. I said, no more, because I had to stop your course. And people called from London and Austria, and I said, no more. I cannot. Poor Brooke. I mean, I can put 100 in a room, but
We
I
could
said
pick
no.
another date for later on in the year when like the weather is perfect. So
I
we can
already
do that.
plan on that. Thank you for setting me the beginning.
Yeah. Well, you guys, please, thanks for tuning in with us. Thanks for the spiritual conversation. And please drop us any comments that you have. Rob and I are looking forward to whatever conversations come from this. So thanks for joining us today.